Pieces community. There's so many great people out there. Let's hear from them. Today we got Kyler Nathan IV, Los Angeles' very own poet. Thank you for coming today to your own house.
Thank you for having me.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel really good.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to it. So you do poetry, yes?
I do.
How long have you been doing that for?
So I've been doing poetry since I was a sophomore in high school, which makes it about 9 years now. 9 years doing poetry.
9 years.
Yeah.
That's actually a long time.
Yeah, a very long time. It's kind of crazy looking back that it's been that long.
Ah, definitely. So let's talk about that, your first book, right? Because you have 3.
I do have 3.
So, your first book, 5 South. Can you tell us like a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a little bit about backstory about why I got into poetry. So my dad is a poet, Kyler Nathan III. He has probably like 6 poetry books now. And so after a while, it was just actually a random day. I was in the airport. I was in Oakland waiting to come back to San Diego, and I was like, I'm gonna write a poetry book. Like, I want to be like my dad. Because I had so many poems in my phone, like I probably had at that point maybe 200 different things written in my phone.
200.
Yeah, so it was like, why not make a poetry book? So
Definitely.
I was sitting in the airport just going through my poems and decided like, these are the poems I want to put in the book. Started putting it together, and as I was putting the book together, I noticed that most of the poems that I had written were based off of experiences I had in college or that transitionary phase between leaving LA and coming to UC San Diego.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I named it 5 South because, of course, LA is just up to 5 from here.
Yeah.
So coming to college was just hopping on the 5 South, coming down to UC San Diego. And actually a lot of the ideas I had for some of the poems in that book came from just random thoughts while driving on the 5.
Yeah.
So I'd be leaving LA late at night and just driving back, and I'll think like one line of a poem or maybe just a metaphor I want to include in a poem, and would say my phone like, hey, set a reminder for later tonight, blah, 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 and then it'll become a poem. And so enough of those poems ended up being 5 South.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you also have Piece of My Mind. And what do you think is like the biggest transition from 5 South to Piece of My Mind?
So I think the biggest transition between 5 South and Piece of Mind, as you see right here, the biggest transition was kind of just wanting to go a little deeper. I feel like with 5 South, it was a lot of poems that I was more comfortable sharing, or things that I had performed at open mics in San Diego, or things I've shared more with friends that I've had. But Piece of Mind was a lot more poems that I hadn't really said out loud or hadn't really shared with people as much, and a lot of poems I feel that more people could connect with.
Definitely.
And so I feel like that made me want to do something where I felt like it was more of a conversation with whoever was reading the book, which is why if you read Piece of Mind, or 5 South, but if you read Piece of Mind, which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and in person, but if you read the book, you notice that in the introduction I make it very clear that I don't really think it's a poetry book. I don't really know what to call it. The table of contents isn't a table of contents. It's just like, there's stuff in here that's about me.
Hey, it happened.
Should we pause? Or?
I don't know what to pause.
All right, we'll cut that part out. Yeah, like when I was looking into it, I was just like, yeah, this isn't really a poem. This isn't really anything, but it's what I want it to be. It's a piece of my mind.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the difference. It's like, I feel like I really engage with the person reading the book more. I feel like I challenge the person reading the book to really want to do more with it and really think more about how these poems play a role in themselves, and how that impacts who they are, who I am. So that'll be the difference.
Yeah, I feel like definitely when I was reading it, I was like, why you gotta ask me all these tough questions? Like,
Gotta make you think.
I'm trying to read. So at least for me, like when I went through it, I read through it just like once, just like front to cover, and then afterwards I was like, okay, let me try to answer some of these deeper questions. But we're gonna get into the poems now.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about So There I Was.
Yeah, so there I was. I was actually forced to write that poem in essence. So we had an event at my job, and the event was with a bunch of high school students who are all high school seniors, and one of our directors was like, hey, like, we really want you to perform at it. I feel like you have a lot you can share with the students.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like, okay, if I was a senior in high school, what would I want to hear? What would be impactful for me? So I was just thinking, like, what was my journey? And so I thought back at, like, where was I when I was in their shoes, thinking about colleges I wanted to apply to, thinking about where I wanted to spend the rest of my life, and just how, like, stressed the hell out I was with the college application process.
Literally.
Especially being first generation, I feel like just was like, all right.
That was literally me too.
So, all right, here it goes. Sure, University of California, sounds cool. San Diego, sure. Visited Stanford, I was like, wow, this place is beautiful.
Nice.
Stanford was the first college where I was like, wow, like, college is like Disneyland.
Literally.
So obviously, like, after I went to Stanford, I was like, wow, like, this is my dream. This is my goal. I need this to happen.
Yeah.
And so sending out all the applications, doing my best. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just like, all right, yeah, sure. Personal statement, extracurricular activities. I did stuff. Good grades, sure. And then I was just thinking back at, like, how every single email I got, every single letter in my mailbox was like, is this it? Like, is this acceptance? So I got accepted to 8 of the 9 schools I applied to, up until the point where in the poem, and I was waiting on Stanford.
Yeah.
And so I will never forget, I was at the nail salon with one of my best friends. She was getting her nails done. Stanford's response was supposed to come out at 3 p.m. that day. So literally it was like 2:50. I'm like, all right, 10 more minutes.
That's tough.
Then like 10 minutes passed and it was 2:51.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, 9 more minutes. Then just literally, like, it felt my heart just beating, like, all right, it's 2:55, 2:56, 2:57, 2:58. And I'm like, oh God, like, then it was 3 o'clock and they didn't send me anything. And I'm like, yo, like, y'all said 3, it's 3:01.
Right.
I'm like, oh crap. So I'm waiting, pacing outside this nail salon, and then I get the email. It's like, hey, Kyler, thanks for applying, and we aren't able to offer your position in the class, but we added you to the wait list. I was like, damn.
Right, like, thank you, maybe no.
And it was just like, dang, like, they didn't say no yet, but they also didn't say yes.
Right.
So it was like, damn, like, am I good enough? And so that's where So There I Was came from, was like, just those moments, those feelings that you're having within that process. Just getting to that process, getting rejected, but then finding where you feel accepted at, which is where part 2 comes in.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, didn't plan on coming to UCSD, but here I was, and just like really embracing being at UC San Diego. And I felt like just saying it minute by minute and really helping the students understand that this isn't going to be the happiest time, this isn't going to be the easiest time. You're going to be stressed as hell, but at the end of the day, like, other people are going through the journey as well as it's a journey you can get through, and that's where that poem came from.
Definitely. Do you think you would choose a different school if you had the chance?
If I were given a chance, if I had to go back and choose, I still think I would have chose UCSD. When it came down to it, it was between UCLA and UCSD. I feel like being from LA, I wanted to get a little far away from LA, but not too far away from LA.
Yeah.
So it could be 50-50, but I think I would still end up at UCSD.
That's what's up. Yeah, I was thinking too, like, even if I had the opportunity to go back, I feel like my best experiences and my worst experiences have been here anyway.
Exactly. And I feel like if I would have went somewhere else, there would have just been different bads and different highs. So.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely feel that. When I was talking to, like, the different coaches for, like, what school to go to too, when I was talking to the Columbia coach, and he was on the phone with me, and he was like, yeah, so did you get that SAT score? And I was like, no, see, so, like, I didn't do well, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, good luck. And I was like, well, there it goes.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially being on this side of the table now, I get it more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, someone's dream, you just, like...
Instantly.
Like, just in a sentence, you're like, well, best of luck. And it's like, that luck was supposed to be with you.
Yeah, like, I answered your call.
Yeah, it's like heartbreak. I feel like college denials was like heartbreak.
Absolutely. I think maybe my biggest heartbreak, honestly. Even though I've been in, like, some deep relationships. Like, I care for y'all. I care for those people. But that was, like, the shocker to me, you know? Like, whoa, I thought I was smart enough for this at least.
Yeah. Don't know if it's worse than heartbreak, but I feel it.
Definitely. but talking about no pain. So let's start off with just the number at the top, because this is where I was confused at. I was like, this is, what number was it?
I took copious notes.
I took a lot of notes. 16 for 30.
Yeah, so April is National Poetry Month, and that's, of course, across the nation. And within the month of April, there's this challenge that goes out, the 30 for 30 challenge, where you try to write one poem every day for the month of April. That's the 30 for 30. And so most of the poems, and that's why my books usually come out later in the years, because I stuff them with some of the things I wrote during that 30 for 30, because me being so competitive, like, I need to get the 30 done.
Yeah.
So this is just like, okay, I thought of this poem, I'm writing it, and it's like, that's where a lot of my best poems, I feel, came from.
Yeah.
So No Pain being this April 16, 2018 was for Piece of Mind. I feel like what led to that poem was someone that day congratulated me on being so good at what I do. I was like, yeah, and I was stressed, and I was like, no, really not. Like, you got this. You're Kyler. I'm like, all right, but Kyler can be stressed.
Right.
So writing that, I was just really thinking about all the times in my life where people are like, oh, you got this. You're Kyler. You got this. You're Kyler. I'm like, geez, like, yeah, I do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I do got this.
Yeah.
But, like, I can still be stressed. Like, just because I'm not sitting here like, I'm stressed, doesn't mean I don't get stressed. And so, just thinking of saying no pain, no gain, that's what I get the title from. I was just thinking like, yeah, like, stress looks different for everybody. Like, just because I don't show that stress doesn't mean that stress doesn't affect me later in the day. That doesn't mean that stress is non-existent. That doesn't mean that I don't need help. Most of the times I'm not going to ask for it, but yeah, like, I didn't get here by just, like, life is, like, really simple. Like, let's just get through it. And I want other people, and kind of get into the conversation with other people, it's like, I want other people to understand that it's okay to acknowledge that you're stressed about stuff. And that's kind of my writing a poem, is acknowledging that stress exists. And I feel like people need to understand that you can be this, like, warrior and, like, just bulldoze your way through life. But it's okay to recognize that stress.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think would be ways that people can actually, like, kind of try to mediate that for themselves?
Yeah, I feel like in terms of that mediation, I feel like people need to just really reflect on what they're doing. Because I feel like some people, especially people who don't like admitting that they're stressed, in the moment it's just like, well, get to the next step, get to the next step, get to the next step. Then afterwards, it's like, oh man, I'm tired.
That's definitely me.
But it's like, yes, you're tired, but at the same time, you're tired because you were stressed the hell out for weeks doing what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
But you're just like, well, getting it done. But you didn't really sit to take a step to think about, like, how your body felt. Like, those times where it's like, all right, how many times did you breathe in the last hour?
Right.
And it's like, oh, like, I should probably breathe.
Or, like, drink water.
Or drink water, just little stuff like that. I feel like people really need to just reflect, especially when it comes to time-sensitive issues or issues that they're trying to solve really quickly. I feel like it's really important for them to take a second, look back, and check in with your body and see, is your mental state where your physical state is? Or is that mental state somewhere completely different? Because, shout out to Michael Benjamin, it's really important to have the spiritual phase, the mental phase, and the physical phase.
Definitely.
And if that mental phase is all that's going forward and you're leaving behind that physical or spiritual phase, I feel like that's where that lack of identifying the stress is, because, like, like, task got done, that's what you're thinking about. Whereas your heart's still racing, you're out of breath, you're dehydrated, you're tired because your physical phase is sitting way back there, like, you forgot about me.
Right.
So I think recognizing that is a key first step. And also understanding that asking for help isn't a weakness, which I feel like in high school was something that kind of drove me crazy. Was just like, like, if I ask for help, that means I failed. I don't want to fail, so I'm not asking for help. So I feel like those are two pieces of advice I would offer.
For sure. So I think that definitely, like, leads into a perfect segue into tug of war, because then you're dealing with, like, that vulnerability of actually, like, letting people into what you're thinking,
which is the single most stressful part about writing poetry. Just because it's like, all right, like, want to be a good poet, so I need to share, like, a little bit about myself, but I'm not really ready for to know all that. And so, like, I took that, put it in a 3 books now, and it's like those emotions are just out there in the world.
Yeah.
Like some random guy in Kentucky can go on Amazon, buy these books, and just have my emotions on their bookshelf. And then it's like the scary part where it's like people are reading, like there's people like you who read it intentionally, they're taking notes, they're processing it. There's some people who have read the book but haven't even said anything about the book, which I feel is the weirdest people, because it's like, you read all that and you don't even think to like hit me up like, wow, you just read it. It's like, okay, I know Kyler, and just kept that to yourself.
Right.
It's freaking weird. But yeah, so Tug of War is just like putting the poems out there, trying to figure out where I am personally to be able to let those poems out.
Yeah.
Figuring out how much of myself I'm willing to put out there before I feel like, not everybody in the public needs to know that.
Yeah.
And part of that was even putting the book together was thinking about who's going to read this book. Like, who am I for sure giving this book to? Who do I know is going to support me in buying this book? And am I ready for that person to know this part about me yet?
Yeah, that's the tough part.
With Piece of Mind in particular, but especially 5 South, because that was the high school, a lot of that's the high school Kyler transitioning to college who wasn't performing poetry yet. So this is just going out for the first time.
Yeah.
So it was like, first girl that ever broke my heart's going to read this. Family's going to read this. Like, yeah, I'm not really sure what I want y'all to know.
Right.
So that's where Tug of War came from.
Definitely. Yeah, you can. I think you can feel like all of that throughout both of the books.
Oh yeah.
Like, all right, Kyler.
It's like, yeah, it's like, I feel like especially people who know me, it's like, yeah, you live with me. Like,
right, I know.
It's like, oh, like, this happened, I was just in the other room.
Right, literally, like, I hear something, I'm like, hello? But I think it also runs perfectly into rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors.
Before you start, do you have any other methods to, like, choose someone in a group besides rock, paper, scissors? Because I feel like it's like the most efficient way.
Nose goes.
That is a good one, actually.
Nose goes is quick. Because I feel like with rock, paper, scissors, it's always like, all right, are we going on shoot? Are we going on 3?
Right.
So there's always that confusion. Drawing a blank with rock, paper, scissors, though, give me a line in the poem.
Okay, I got you.
Or I could just look at it.
Yeah, you could. So rock, paper, scissors. I've been a rock for many people, so
yes.
stability and sturdiness.
Yes, being a rock for many people. And I feel like that poem is the basis of a lot of what's in this poem. My beautiful little beneath the surface right here, a little animation. Rock, paper, scissors. Actually, let me see it just so I can.
Yeah.
Because there's parts in that I really want to highlight. I want to make sure I get word for word what's going on in there. But yeah, I feel like within that tug of war, within that no pain, part of that is just becoming that rock for people. Being, as I am the earth sign. Rock, paper, scissors is just like being that rock for someone, being solid and not breaking. And then the paper part of it would be the poem. So it's like, yeah, I'm this sturdy rock, like in the morning time, but where does that rock be able to release? And the paper comes to console the rock, comes to cover up a lot of what the rock is trying to hold sturdy and make sure that the rock doesn't break. So that's where my poems are, that's where the books are.
Yeah.
But at some time, like, the paper can only take so much.
Right.
And so that's when it comes to, like, the rock breaking and just, like, showing all that strength inside was actually, like, potential energy, a lot of anger, like, just really trying to hold all that stuff in and be rough, be hard. And then kind of the last part of that poem when I talk about, and so he broke, and the paper took all that impact, catching the broken pieces, turning into poetic masterpieces, showing what the rock was made of, rather than being a hard ass about it, smashing everything inside, chipping those rugged edges, and calling it character.
Right.
Part of what I wanted with that was just really like to hammer home that imagery of like a rock breaking, like because I think we always think of rocks as very solid things, but to think of a rock like exploding and like shards falling everywhere is really what I want people to understand, that like poetry can be for anybody, but specifically for me, it's like when that rock breaks, like where's the paper at was holding that rock together. Definitely. And where's all that energy going that's been stored up in that rock for so long.
Definitely. Yeah, because I think like, at least for me, it spoke to me as like just like a canvas for like that hard place or that person that's like going through like a lot or whatever, you know. So I think that I could definitely relate to that, and like it's whether I'm like making music or like doing some like random art stuff in Photoshop, it's like finally the release is here.
Yeah, some type of release from all that you're holding solid and
definitely
together.
Definitely. All right, so Kanye
West.
I love this poem. I love the energy in this poem. Like literally I'm like, y'all are so worried about everybody else.
Literally everybody else. I don't remember exactly what in the timeline of Kanye had did at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it was when he met with Mr. Donald. And that's when the time was like blowing up, and it was like, oh, like cancel Kanye. But then you have the Kanye defenders like, oh, like we don't know how he's feeling though.
Right.
Let's check in on his mental health. But at the same time, it's like you checking in on Kanye's mental health because he tweeted "Make America Great Again," whereas your friend that you just saw last night is tweeting about how they don't know if they want to get to tomorrow. They like, man, like today was like just a simple to it, man, today was rough, and you just scroll past that, looking for Kanye, looking for memes. But then when you see Kanye, like, oh well, his mom died and blah blah blah, which is like, don't get me wrong, like that's very important to keep in mind for people. But you don't know Kanye. Kanye don't give a damn about you.
Damn.
But there's people literally that you could be in the house with, that you could be partying with, turning up with, that are being way more blatant, like, nah, like my mental health is in danger.
Yeah.
And you're just like, someone else will check in with them. So that Kanye poem was kind of just thinking about how many people, and you see it even now, like you got people talking about Antonio Brown, you got people talking about Jay-Z now. It's like, all right, cool. Like, these, at the end of the day, they all humans. Don't care what their bank account is. They are human beings.
That's a fact.
You should also check in with those human beings who you actually know, who actually care about you, especially those that check in with you, but you just leave them out there like, they'll figure it out, or they're just seeking attention. I've literally seen people say that people are seeking attention online, and it's like, yeah, but you're giving attention to people you don't even know. So
right.
Social media is weird in general. I feel like I could write like a full book just about social media and how, social media.
But I think it's like cool too how you had like on the next page the interactive part where it's like, okay, so who do you check on? I think that was like a lot of accountability for like that person too, and it's like, you know, are you really having accountability for your own actions and intentionally? And
that's what I like about Piece of Mind is that throw like a poem about a very strong concept or very deep, but then I really like slap you in the face with a question on the next page, and I'm like, like, what do you need to unlearn? Like, what are you thinking about? So
definitely like a ratchet apology. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite poems I've written.
Definitely. I was like, yo, I had a lot to unlearn, honestly. But I did want to talk about too social media friendships. Do you think that you have any friends that are like specifically only social media?
I wouldn't necessarily call them friends, and more like social media acquaintances. I feel like because I was very active on Twitter when Twitter first was on that rise to get popular, there's people I follow literally because they're Lakers fans.
Right.
And I feel like I know them.
Yeah.
Never met them in my life. Never.
Would you meet them?
Yeah, probably. I'll probably meet them.
Yeah.
Then there's also some people who like I went to high school with, who I was cool in high school with because of like proximity or middle school, but like we're not friends now. Like I couldn't, like if I saw them on the street, it would take me a minute to be like, oh, that's so and so. So I feel like the age of social media with followers being such a big thing, people who you follow being such a big thing, there's a lot of those social media friendships where it's just like,
but did you like my stuff?
Yeah. But did you like my stuff? Like, do you like these pictures? Like, what are you really looking at?
Yeah.
What do you think stood out to you in that poem? Not to interview you.
No, you're good. Honestly, I think it was just the fact that like we do like try to like gain followers or like whatever this like thing is, and half the time you don't even know who the people are at all. And like I would say that I have like one or two people on Instagram that it's like, yeah, I could talk to them like on a normal basis about like whatever, anything. I don't know them. I've never met them ever. But like if I went to go fly out to where they're at, we could have like a chill time and like, maybe get like a beer and like talk.
Definitely just like chop it up, but it was really stop at that surface sometimes.
Definitely. And then like you said about the 10%, like I definitely know who I would actually go to and who is like actually looking at my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like I see it a lot when it's like, all right, posted this picture of this great meal I'm having, and people are like, wow, like that looks good. Then I post this and I'm like, hey, pre-order the book.
Right.
Just scroll past that shit. So I feel like with Beneath the Surface, I saw it a lot because I would really just look on Twitter, it's like, or Instagram, like, oh, they reposted this, they pre-ordered this, they liked the picture. They was like, man, you gotta cop this. Then it's like other people, I'm like, like you didn't say anything about this, but if you needed something, you would hit me up right away.
Right.
So that's an interesting concept.
Definitely. We're back after a little delay due to technical difficulties. The screen has resumed to the first screen. But again, we're talking about your favorite social media.
Yeah, so I think that my favorite social media would definitely have to be Twitter, hands down. Just because on Twitter, I feel like you get anything you get from Instagram. You have all the pictures scrolling, whether they're memes or people posting pictures. People even take the pictures they post directly to Instagram and post them on Twitter.
Right. Like Instagram saw it first and Twitter saw it
first. Snapchat, cool. Like that's mostly unique, but the Instagram got the Snapchat stories. So it's like, Snapchat's probably bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Facebook is, I don't know, it's just Facebook.
What about Venmo?
Ooh.
Venmo's so random.
But do you consider Venmo social media?
I mean, you can see what other people posted.
Yeah, that's true. Venmo would be like way bottom though. It's not really providing me any information. Like I don't really care that you paid your roommate for rent.
Right.
Like,
Electricity.
Yeah, it's like, oh, electricity, $20. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Twitter's definitely up there. I feel like LinkedIn is up there too, just because LinkedIn is like more tangible a little bit.
Yeah.
But Twitter's definitely there just for the networking that Twitter brings. You kind of have your reality on your screen. Like I'm following who I want to hear their thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Instagram, you just get pictures and captions. Where Twitter, you can really feel like what that person's thinking. If I'm watching a Lakers game and like LeBron has this flashy windmill dunk, I go on Twitter like, yo, like, did you see that LeBron dunk? And then people are like, yeah, I saw that LeBron dunk.
Right.
But it's like people I don't even know that I'm engaging with across the nation, across the world. And I just feel like it's a great way to like really network and talk to people. And I feel like Twitter gives you that more frequently and more dynamically than like an Instagram or a Facebook.
Yeah.
Twitter can get wild sometimes.
Can it?
But I feel like that's what makes Twitter Twitter. It's like you're going to see what you're liking.
Right.
You're going to see also what the people you like, what they like.
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because it's like you're seeing everybody's likes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love
when they did that likes update, that was low key dangerous. I'm not gonna lie. I stopped liking stuff.
I kind of miss the favorite star. Like I feel like
yeah.
When I like stuff on Twitter, it wasn't that like, oh, I like this, so I want other people to see it. That's what retweeting was for.
Right, right.
Favorites was like, this is really funny. I want to come back and look at this.
Yeah, one day or sometime. Definitely. Man. So we talked about social media friends, and I wanted to go into Ain't Nobody Praying For Me.
Ain't Nobody Praying For Me. That's actually one of my favorite pieces.
Inspired by Kendrick?
Yes, the Ain't Nobody Praying For Me line is inspired by Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to Kendrick.
Kendrick.
I actually wrote that piece while I was at an open mic. So I was at an open mic, and usually perform at this open mic lyrical exchange, happens every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And as I was there, I was like, I don't really know what I want to perform. Like nothing was really resonating with me for that night. And so I think something had happened earlier where someone was like, oh, like I'll pray for you. Yeah. And I was like, like prayer isn't exactly what I need right now, because I feel like, especially as it pertains to religion, I feel like there's so many different religions in the world. I don't believe that everyone is just wrong who doesn't believe in Christianity.
That specific thing, yeah.
I feel like everyone has their different lived experiences, their different realities, so I feel like it can kind of be very silencing if you're just like, oh, I'll pray for you to like my God.
Yeah.
And that can really disrespect what other people need in the moment or what other people feel is important for them to experience or do. Mm-hmm. And then I started thinking about my high school experiences, because I went to religious schools for all of my life before coming to UC San Diego. And it was all religion. Like, we're going to make sure you understand what we think.
Yeah.
But it was like all this other stuff was happening in the world. Like police brutality was a thing that no one was praying for police brutality. we set our grades before our meals, and it's like, all right, now we go play, but all this real shit's happening in the world that we're not talking about because we're so focused on, all right, this is what Catholics think, this is what Christians think. So that ain't nobody praying for me was just kind of, I don't know, when I wrote it I was kind of mad, so it's kind of like an angry tirade. It's like, yo, like, stop saying you're going to pray for me. Like, there's other shit that I need besides prayer in this moment. Prayer isn't going to pay my rent tomorrow. Prayer isn't going to bring that person back to life. Which isn't to say that if you believe that prayer is going to do those things, that's not wrong. That's your reality. Yeah. But it's not mine, and it's not everyone's.
Do you think it turned you off from like religion in general, or?
I wouldn't say turn me off from religion. More so, just really more critical or just thinking more in depth about religion, because I feel like going to religious school so long, it was just like, oh yeah, like Catholics are right, Christians are right. But then coming to college and just experiencing friends who are different religions, or just people who didn't believe in religion at all, so it just made me more critical and just thinking like, I feel like everyone has some type of religion. Sometimes that religion is the lack of a religion, but I feel like whatever spiritual way you exist throughout this world, that's to your individual lived experience. There shouldn't be this blanket, like, if you don't believe in this deity, like, you're going to this place. If you don't believe these principles, you are just wrong. I feel like that experience is unique to everyone, and being critical religion has helped me to believe that. And I feel like that makes me appreciate a lot more the people around me, because I'm really considering, like, this is their lived experiences. This is what they consider God. This is their spiritual relationship with their life. And that can be different for every person. Even every Christian, like, everyone experiences Christianity differently as well. So I feel like that all encompasses, like, ain't nobody praying for me. And Kendrick Lamar.
And Kendrick. Y'all should definitely check that out. So terms and conditions. The next poem.
Yeah, terms and conditions. I think that was part of the 30 for 30. I don't remember. But either way, terms and conditions. The specific game I was thinking about when I was doing terms and conditions, which isn't a 30 for 30 poem, I used to play Tonka when I was a little kid.
Tonka, like the Tonka trucks?
Yeah, the Tonka trucks. Little computer game, like I had the little console thing, like I love Tonka. I used to play that, I used to play Putt-Putt, used to play Pajama Sam, like I love computer games, Freddy Fish. And so I was just thinking, like, as a young kid, I got into computers really easily. Like, I learned how to work computers very easily. So I didn't need my parents to help me install the games. Just install it. It's like, all right, save to C, because that's where it defaults to. And then read the terms and conditions. A lot of text, like, whatever, click. Except because it's like,
are you 14? Maybe.
Like, are you at least 16 years of age? Yeah, sure.
Let me play.
Guardian, like, I just know, like, I need to press these buttons so I can play this game. Like, I want to play this game. And even I feel like there's been times where it pops up and I'm wondering what's in there, but I like read a pair, I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna just click accept. Literally anything can be in the terms and conditions. Krabby Patty's secret formula can be in there to cure the incurable diseases, the secret to time travel, like any of that could be in the terms and conditions I would not know. So I was thinking, like, dang, like, people really don't be reading terms and conditions, they don't know what they're signing up for. Then I related that to like relationships and friendships. It's like, you really got to understand what it means to be someone's friend. I feel like people come into friendship, especially nowadays with social media, it's like, oh, they follow me on Twitter, they like my picture every now and then, like, friends. And it's like, nah, like, being a friend to me isn't just following me on social media, it's not just texting me every day, it's like, understand that, like, let's be present together, like, I want to get to know you, like, I can be acquaintances with anybody, but a friendship, like, there's terms and conditions to that. And I would appreciate if people, like, read those full terms and conditions or just understood that or were conscious of that before signing up to be someone's friend.
Yeah, when I was reading them, I was like, ooh, shoot, my bad, Kyler. I had to re-sign it. Like, in front. But we got to unlearn some things.
So, we definitely do.
But I was really happy to, like, see that and, like, actually, like, call people out on it too, because again, with like accountability, people will be so quick to like, oh, I had something going on or blah 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 blah, when it's like all you have to do is say like, are you good? And that's all I needed that day. Or have a good day.
Just like, it's little things like, have you eaten today?
Like,
and it's just really simple, like, just like, let's say that I was about to get some food right now, like, oh, I'm going to Jack in the Box, so you want anything? Like, that's not doing much, but it's like, dang, like, you're about to get food and you're like, dang, like Kenny might be hungry too. I don't know why this does that. I even set it to not do that.
Technology.
Yeah, technology. But yeah, it's just like, I'm going to get food, and I was like, Kenny likes to eat.
He needs to, kind of.
Yeah, let me make sure he has food. Like, it's simple shit like that.
Right.
Whereas other people, they'll come back home with, like, a bag of Chick-fil-A, and they're like, dang, like, you went to Chick-fil-A?
I like that place.
Like, even if I didn't want anything, you didn't say nothing.
Right.
So I could at least mentally prepare, like, dang, like, he about to eat in this bomb-ass Chick-fil-A, because now you're eating waffle fries at the table.
Right.
I'm sitting here like, dang, like...
Waffle fries sound fire right
sound
now.
freaking fire.
Crazy.
But yeah, terms and conditions.
Definitely. So, here I am, part 1.
So here I am, part 1. Yeah, just that was the last thing that I added to the book and the last thing I wrote for Piece of Mind. Mm-hmm. Because after I was looking through the product, I was like, all right, so first part of the book, I was talking about, so there I was, like, this period of time, like, this is how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Then, like, a quarter of the way through the book or halfway through the book, it's like, all right, so there I was then like this frame of mind thinking. So I felt like in writing the book that way and showing like, so there I was, I just felt like it'd be unfair to the reader if I didn't put something about like, so here I am.
Yeah.
And that was a different style of writing for me. I don't usually write like that. I was really focusing on like the exact sentence, like, so here I am, mm-hmm. that sentence, and then talking about like who I am, like I was 22 at the time, blah blah blah, mm-hmm. and then we'll transition to the next one. Even like physically, like I did a lot with spacing in that book, so it was like, so here I am, then this is here I am, then it's like, so here, meaning the place I am, then talking about like where I am in my life, and then so here meaning audible, I am, meaning like listen to me, understand who I am. Like there's different levels to so here I am.
Yeah.
And I intentionally made it part 1 because it's like here I am is going to change, like I'm moving forward, and intentionally ending the book with that, like saying like all these different pieces of my mind leads me to here I am.
Right.
And all of these different poems lead you to that last poem.
Connecting the puzzle.
So here I am.
Right.
Connecting the puzzle, and that's why you have the puzzle piece as the logo.
Oh yeah.
And it's a piece of mind.
Right. And also too, I wanted to ask about this one in the beginning. I thought it was like Taurus. Is it something else?
It is Taurus. So I just took 2 Taurus logos and put them to the side.
Oh.
So their horns are connecting at the top, and it's also forming horns at the bottom. But as I was designing it, I also thought it looked kind of like a biohazard logo.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. Then forming the diamonds in the middle of it. Diamond is my birthstone. So I just did a lot of just playing with the Taurus logo because I am a Taurus, and there's a lot of symbolism to that even just looking at it, I continue to dig deeper into it because it's like Taurus is butting heads, like that sign of conflict, but also it looks like a sign of union or unison with the horn. So there's a lot. And this other way where I'm also just now thinking of as I'm speaking of this, their heads are connected, their minds are connected as I'm giving you a piece of my mind.
One piece.
Yes, one piece of my mind.
A diamond piece of it.
A diamond piece of it.
Damn.
And then the table of contents too. I just try to do a lot in terms of like spacing in poems, and like everything is intentional with the book. So like table of contents is like, as I was writing, I was like, yeah, do I really want to walk them through, or do I want them to just experience it as is? Because I don't want people to just be able to pick up this book and like, oh, like this poem's on page 3.
Right.
Like, so I'm like, yeah, there's poems in here, but there's the feast, there's experiences, there's testimonies, revelations, thoughts, beliefs, fears, words, conversations, epiphanies, feelings, stories, me. And then kind of how this goes, like, yeah, they're poems, then start expanding a little bit more, like they're all this, but they still narrow down to just words, but I hope we expand them to conversations and create epiphanies, feelings, stories, and learn about me. Then it's like you'll see.
Right.
There's a lot of my poems that spacing plays a very key part. Like, I forget which book it's in, but the Excalibur poem, I think
it's in this one.
It's in that one?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can find Excalibur, I can kind of shed some. So yeah, Excalibur, I wanted this to kind of be like, not precisely, but kind of like an imagery of Excalibur, because you kind of have this grip up here.
Yeah.
Then you're narrowing down the blades of the sword there. Then it's stuck in the ground there. So very loosely, but the structure of the poem is kind of like looking down at a sword.
Yeah, definitely.
Spacing is very key.
Yeah, like you can see it in a lot of your poems. Definitely gotta talk more about that later.
Yeah. And something else I want to point out while we're at that. I really like the design of this book. The back cover was very intentional as well. I don't remember exactly what I fully wrote in here.
Yeah.
But I think it was something along the line. I was going to give this book a description of who I am and what it means in terms of something. But it's like, this is the intention of why I wrote this book. I wrote it on here as the back cover, but then I was like, I don't want to share that. I want them to read and find out. So I took out this section of it, which also is my hair.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. Not a lot of people know this is my hair.
Yeah, I remember.
Vintage Kyler hair.
Yeah, also too because like this would define your book basically.
Yeah, and I don't want the book to have a definition.
Right. So I think that's like super key and stuff. Well, appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate you telling me about the book even further as I continue to read it and learn from it as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to read it.
Absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about what's the plan for this.
So, Beneath the Surface.
Yes, unveil.
Book 3. This will be coming out September 30th, so later this month. And honestly, this book had a journey, so I was going to write a different book. And this is going to be that book that I was going to write was going to be the third book, and I was going to call it Headlines. And then as I was designing the book, I was like, wow, I'm starting to get a little good at Photoshop, so I decided to draw or design the cover for whatever my fourth book would be. And that's when I started doing this.
Yeah.
And originally I just had this as the cover. I had the IV as the cover. So I was like, oh, the fourth book, book 4. So this was going to be the fourth book actually. But then as I was trying to put together Headlines, I was like, this feels more about what I wanted Beneath the Surface to be about. And so that's how I started. I transitioned to making Beneath the Surface first, and then I'll save Headlines or whatever it ends up being for the actual book 4. And so this was kind of the theme, was going beneath the surface. Like 5 South was kind of that journey. Piece of Mind was like that kind of window into it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Beneath the Surface just does that and goes beneath the surface. And everything is very intentional about the book. Like when I was designing the cover, originally it was vertical like this, or portrait mode.
Yeah.
And then I switched it to landscape, actually through the direction of you, I believe. You gave me that inspiration to switch it to landscape. But what I wanted the book to be was literally a journey beneath the surface. So the front cover being what you're seeing there is that top of the ocean, or top of whatever body of water you're envisioning, and you see the lights piercing beneath the surface there, because that's the beginning of the book. But as you transition through the book, as you finish the book, you're getting deeper and deeper beneath the surface, and that leads you to the bottom of the book, or the back cover of the book. So this is like the depths of it, and this is hopefully where the book will take you if you're reading it.
Yeah.
And then I also originally had the Taurus logo on the cover too, because I was like, well, I'm a Taurus. But then I slowly started adding more of my birth chart into the cover of the book, because I feel like in learning more about astrology, like your birth chart is really who you are beneath the surface of just your sun sign.
Yeah.
And so I felt like all those different parts of my zodiac or my birth chart should be represented on the back cover as well. And a very, very hidden feature of the book is also there's a mask here, or at least the silhouette of a mask at the bottom of the surface.
Yeah, I see a little.
Yeah, you can very vaguely see it. You'll be able to see it a little bit better on the finalized copy, but it's intentionally like not as defined on here. But the idea is, in writing this book, I'm taking off a mask, and then the mask is sinking until it rests at the beneath of the surface.
That's crazy.
So yeah, a lot of thought went into that, and yeah, I'm really excited for people to just be able to read it. I feel like it's a different style of poetry than I usually do. I feel like I wrote some shorter poems in here, but short, but very impactful.
Right.
And the book is organized in a very specific way that as you go deeper and deeper, the poems do get deeper and deeper.
Cannot wait to read this book.
September 30th.
And we will definitely have you back for when I finish that book and we recap that.
Curtains.
Curtains. It was good.
It's actually a transition to show you the actual bottom of the surface. Because there is no video signal as you get to the bottom of the ocean floor.
That's a fact. All right. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Of course. A hug.
All right, now I'm going to go to my room.